The statute of limitations. If the insurance carrier applies it incorrectly, you might be SOL. The statute of limitations means only one thing. It is the limit in the policy, a time frame limit, that a policyholder has to file suit against the carrier for that claim. And it's usually based on a time that starts on the date of loss. So in Georgia, most policies have a statute of limitations of 2 years. There are different states that have different requirements. Most states have something in their code that stipulates how long the statute of limitations is, but it might not be for every peril type. In Georgia, for example, there is a state statute under the standard fire policy of 2 years, but that is only for the perils of fire and lightning. So if anything else happened that you have covered under your policy for, then the statute of limitations isn't set by that standard fire policy in the state of Georgia. It would be set by whatever the policy states. So you have to look in the policy to find out when the statute of limitations expires. And whatever that date is, that is the last possible day that you can file suit against the carrier. So when that statute of limitations expires, there's a huge benefit to the insurance carrier. Now there's nothing you can do to them if they continue to act inappropriately. So if you're getting close to that statute of limitations, one of the things that insurance carriers typically do, I guess as a strategy, is to delay everything so that the time expires before you file a lawsuit. That statute of limitations is very clearly set. It might be an endorsement or a rider on your policy, but it is set by the policy in most cases. If the statute of limitations expires, the insurance carrier still owes you for your claim. It's just the time frame set for filing suit. It has nothing to do with how long you have to make a claim or to be paid on a claim. There are some insurance carriers that teach their adjusters that if the statute of limitations has expired, they no longer owe for it. And that's just not true. They can say, no, we're not going to pay you. I'm not paying this claim. The statute of limitations has expired. And they can be dead wrong, but you still can't do anything about it. So that statute of limitations, in a way, really hinders you if it's surpassed. I'm going to give you an example. It's a hailstorm. It happened 3 years ago. Statute of limitations was 2 years from the date of loss. You just found out that you have damage. You can file a claim right now on that date of loss 3 years ago, as long as the policy existed when that hailstorm hit. The insurance carrier still owes you for that damage. But if they don't pay it, you can't sue them. So it's important that you file the claim as soon as possible. It's important that after major events, you have things inspected if you don't know if you have damage. Many times the carrier will still pay those things. If they're a decent carrier, if they like to take care of their customers properly, they may still pay for that claim without any issues. But if they are a carrier that is typically difficult, it's very likely they're just going to deny the claim and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. But the statute of limitations is not the limit that you have to file a claim after a date of loss. Some policies do have a limit for how long you have to file a claim after the loss. Most policies say that you have to give prompt notice, but that prompt notice would only really be necessary the second you find out that you have damage. If you don't know that you have damage, then even if the storm occurred 3 years ago, if you just found out that you have damage from that storm and you give prompt notice, then you've still met the conditions of the policy. Some policies say that you have to file within a certain amount of time. Nationwide in Georgia, for example, for hail and windstorm, you have 6 months to file the claim. So if 6 months has expired, even if you did have damage and you didn't know about it, you still would not be able to file a claim on that loss. So you got to be careful about the policy language. It's all about the policy language. If you suspect that you have damage after a storm, you need to get it inspected right away. You need to have a public adjuster that knows what they're doing involved from the beginning. That way everything goes as smoothly as possible. Let us deal with the bull.